What is good, chat? How's everybody feeling? Definitely appreciate you guys coming out this morning to hang out and talk Avengers as usual. And I see we got a nice little crowd going in the chat so far. Shout out to everybody who's came out, this morning, and a double shout out if you actually hit that like button already. Definitely appreciate that, and it definitely helps the channel. We got a Blue Marvel fan in the chat. What's up, Slip? How you doing? What's up, Sierra? Mandalorian, you've been here for a while. Nikita, Dead Inside. Let me scroll up. We got Chris Rogers, as always. Definitely appreciate that. Cornelius Quan, appreciate you coming through. Andy Scott, Goog Bangin, Hydro Turtle, Jex, Cobra Gaming, Jedi Fallen Survivor. Definitely appreciate all of you guys coming out, hanging out. Let's get some vibes going. Yeah, we are hanging out on this Sunday evening or morning, talking Avengers as usual, and who you guys want to see come after Bucky and who makes the most sense. I'm actually a dude. I'm using my sister's account. It's all good, man. Whatever your name is, I guess if you want to, you can drop it in the chat. I'll shout you out. But appreciate you being here, especially going to the length of using your sister's account just to be here. Definitely appreciate it. What's up, Chris Ortega? And what's up, Chris Mendiola? And Nathaniel and Fox and some guy. What's good? So, a lot of confusion seems to have been going around about who exactly was the next hero coming or when they're coming. So for those of you who are new to the game or who have questions about that, Avengers! The hardest elite. Appreciate you subscribing. Definitely appreciate that. And what's up, Coastin Lee, Darkside, and Zainul? Appreciate you guys coming through. Beasley said, what's good? We still got people popping in. I definitely appreciate that, man. But yeah, guys, we got Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier, as the next hero coming to Avengers. He's expected to drop sometime between October and November, with my personal expectation being to see him come late November alongside Cloning Labs as the final content for the year. And I know a lot of people were confused about that. Like, some people were under the expectation that he would be dropping this upcoming Tuesday in patch 2.6, but that is not accurate at all. So he was announced in the same blog update as patch 2.6, but it was stated that he and Cloning Lab would be arriving in patch 2.7, which is arriving at an undisclosed time or date as of right now. Mandalorian. We're definitely going to talk about Captain Marvel. The main people who we really expect to see show up as the next hero. And so you're gonna hear names like She-Hulk and War Machine, of course, but I'm throwing in other names, and I'll definitely be making a case for why any of these heroes would make sense as the next hero to be brought into the game and the narrative post Bucky. And anybody who just popped in, definitely appreciate you guys, and definitely would appreciate you guys slapping that like. Melody, how you doing? Appreciate you coming through. But before we get rolling, you guys feel free to drop the hero or drop the name of the hero you want to see the most after we get Bucky. So who would you like to see as the post hero for Bucky? And what's up, Papa Beans? How you doing, man? Wouldn't War Machine be just like Iron Man? We are going to address that because, again, a lot of misconceptions. Wanda, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, War Machine, of course, Reginald Hayes. We already locked in, bro. We on the same page. Captain Marvel. What's up, Nathaniel? Falcon. We got Falcon. We got Where is She-Hulk? It's unlikely, but I would love to at least see a mention of Moon Knight, considering the Staff of Khonshu was leaked in the game. Well, if you if you were one of the people who picked up the prequel novel, you definitely got mention of Moon Knight and Khonshu, and so those both have been confirmed to exist in this universe. You got older, what are they called? Avatar of Khonshu. So you got one of Khonshu's older avatars, but obviously he's a god, so he's still around, and more than likely he has a current avatar who's running around who may be a familiar name that you may have also just seen in a popular Disney Plus series. But when is Bucky coming? We'll talk about that. Actually, I just kind of covered that and touched on that a little. But if you just popped into the screen or the stream, forgive the mix-ups. I'm still getting started for the morning. But Bucky is coming in patch 2.7. So this upcoming Tuesday, September 20th, we're getting patch 2.6 in the game. So patch 2.7 is going to come sometime after that, with my anticipation being late November. But it's always possible that we could see it arrive sometime in October. Both Bucky and Cloning Labs are currently in playtesting, so playtesting is the next step beyond, right ahead of being officially released. So once things are in playtesting, they are just fine tuning and making final tweaks and changes to how those things function, making sure there are no major bugs or crashes or anything going on, making sure everything is functioning as it should. So once any new content gets to the playtesting stage, content drop is not far behind. So he's definitely on the way, and like I said, I wouldn't be completely surprised if he comes in October. The reason that I personally expect him to come late November is because I expect him to be the last content for the year alongside of Cloning Labs, and I believe dropping him in October would set the expectation that something more would come after that. So you still have November and December, and I believe a lot of people would anticipate more content being squeezed out before the end of the year. And I'm not sure they want to do that, and I'm not sure that's something that's feasible. It could be though. So it's like we don't know anything definitively. I'm just kind of going based on what we've seen in the past and what we saw them do around this time last year. So November 30th of last year, we got the Raid and Spider-Man at the same time, and that was the final content for the year. So I'm thinking they're aiming to do something similar with Bucky and Cloning Lab this year. So that's my logic behind me expecting Bucky and Cloning Lab late November. But again, it's very possible that that content could arrive ahead of time or sometime in October. So we just have to wait and see how everything plays out. With Hydra come with Bucky? No, Bucky's story is definitely going to be mostly tied to AIM, but we could get hints about Hydra. We could get mention of Hydra. So we don't know it. They do like to tease things. They've been teasing Loki. They've been teasing the Kree invasion. So they do like to tease different things. We just don't know exactly when those things are going to pop up or how they're going to pop up. And I don't want to give the expectation that those things are definitely going to be tied into his release, because it's very well that his story could have nothing to do with Hydra at all, because this is a different variation of Bucky. This is they want him to fit into their game's universe, and they also want to have their own unique spin on him. So it's like we just don't know enough about what their vision is at this point to be like, oh well, he'll definitely have ties to Hydra or anything like that. When do you think She-Hulk is coming? So we're gonna break all of that down. So rolling into the very first hero that I wanted to talk about post Bucky. So this will be, every hero I mention is who I believe has a chance to come in as the next hero after Bucky. Someone took my sandwich. How you doing, bro? It's been a while. Just wanted to see how you were doing. Mostly going to lurk since I'm like super tired. Oh, hey, bro. Any support is appreciated. Definitely appreciate the lurks. Definitely appreciate the verbal support. All of that. If you took the time to comment, click on the video, or click a like, all of that is very much appreciated. So shout out to you for coming through, bro. So, as always, we want to focus on the people who have like realistic chances of actually being brought into the game. And of course, every hero I'm going to talk about has a somewhat solid chance of being brought into the game. Everyone here has been found on the data mine list of heroes that they had planned to be playable. So, at the very least, every person I'm talking about on this list has that going for them. But starting off, War Machine. So I know, I know. The first thing that most people, that comes to mind when you see War Machine or you think or hear War Machine is, oh, well, he'll just be an Iron Man clone. If you've watched any media that depicted both War Machine and Iron Man, you can't help but notice they have a very different approach to fighting and the weapons they use and everything like that. War Machine, because Rhodey himself comes from a military background, that's his approach. So he's all about missiles. He's all about firepower, so gunplay, things like that. And if you go back to the scene in Iron Man 2, where he was talking to Justin Hammer about everything he wanted included in his armor, it was all military, high grade weaponry and things like that. So missiles, rockets, things like that. Where Iron Man is futuristic tech, so he's using repulsors. No one else has access to repulsors. He has a unibeam, he has lasers and things like that. He's about style, finesse, and just flashy technology. Where War Machine is just old school military firepower. So those are two very different, styles for both of them. So if you want to look at it as, oh, well, they're both using our Iron Man armor, I guess so, but that has nothing to do with their play style. So to expect them to play exactly the same, that's you kind of setting yourself up for disappointment, or you just have a misconception about both characters. And it's like I've been trying to combat that to some degree. I know some people that they're going to close their ears no matter what I say and just take away that they're going to be the exact same thing, but they are. I can guarantee you they are not going to be the same thing. And one reason I feel comfortable making that guarantee is the person who's designing them. So a reason that I feel like War Machine has a very strong chance of being the next hero is because Brian, the lead developer, he shared back in June, the day that Jane Foster dropped into the game, he shared that he was currently wrapping up paper designs for the next two heroes. So he is personally designing the next two heroes that are coming post Bucky. So the next two heroes who are coming after Bucky, he designed them himself. So if you know Brian and you followed his career and his work, you know that to this day, War Machine is his favorite hero. Like, that was his staple in the gaming industry. Like, he brought a very unique War Machine to Marvel Heroes, which was one of the projects he was working on prior to coming to Avengers. He also worked on Madden and different games like that, but he's most notable for his work he did with War Machine. And he's spoken about, wanting to do this, wanting to design War Machine for Avengers, but at the same time kind of being intimidated because, there's such a high level of expectation about what he'll be able to do with the character. But he definitely has a deep passion and love for the character. So it's like seeing War Machine appear as one of the new heroes that's been designed by Brian personally wouldn't surprise me at all. And I feel like that would be a big win for this game because you need something with that kind of staple on it. So it's like, I know he's definitely going to be met with the echo, talk until you actually see his gameplay and everything. But so I'm not worried about that. I'm confident that once people actually see his gameplay, those echo and clone, rumors and speculations that'll all be killed off. What's up, Sadai? Shout out to Sadai. Co-host of mine for the after show and one of my favorite content creators in the Avengers community and just one of the dopest people on the internet all around, and as well as you guys who are all here with me this Sunday morning just chilling talking about this game that so many people are passionate about. So definitely shout out to Sadai, shout out to you guys, and again I appreciate you guys beyond words for just coming through, listening to me, share my thoughts and just talk about this game that I'm, just as passionate about as you guys. But War Machine definitely has a strong chance of being the next hero because he already has some design work. So Miller has shared he has an in-game concept design. So they know what he'll look like visually, or they know what they want him to look like visually. And they also shared, or Miller also shared that he has some combat designs in game already. So he'll have like an overheat component to his weaponry. So where Iron Man, he runs out of intrinsic if he uses his weapons too much. So he has to wait, or you can do melee to build that back up and get back to using intrinsic, or you can, open up the barrier, the energy barrier, and recharge yourself like that, or you can go into the overcharge. So he has several ways of combating that, but it's not necessarily overheating. It's just simply running out of intrinsic, because that's the developer's way of balancing Iron Man. And War Machine, because he uses, military weaponry, if you sit there and shoot a Gatling gun, repeatedly, it's going to overheat. You're going to see, the heat, the heat building up, and you'll see the tip of it begin to overheat and begin to turn red. So stuff like that, definitely, it should be a part of his design. And that's something to balance him, because if not, you're just going to be sitting there mowing down everything endlessly. So it's like, you want to have some level of realism to it. So it's like, okay, you got to cool down, maybe switch to melee, maybe use another, form of weaponry like missile barrage or grenades or something like that. But, just to balance him out. So it's like they already have put thought into War Machine, and he was one of the heroes in early development pre-launch. So they obviously, kind of pivoted away from him to go with more, other heroes like She-Hulk and the Winter Soldier and Captain Marvel, who we're just now getting to the point where we're going to see Bucky come to the game. So it's like, but the planning was there. The desire to bring him to the game was there, and you can revisit that at any time. And your lead developer is one of the biggest War Machine fans in the industry. So it's like he has a lot going for him in that regard. But he's not alone in that, so we have other people who could also, appear, and I'll make a case for them as well. And, of course, you have this green lady who has been the subject of a lot of conversations these past few weeks with her new Disney Plus show, and as well as, in the Avengers community, because prior to the Bucky reveal and Miller himself, coming out saying, oh, well, guys, they shifted the vision and now they're changing over to go with Bucky as the next hero instead of She-Hulk, although we knew who her voice actress was, and we have, in-game dialogue of characters in the game greeting both her, Bucky, and Captain Marvel. So it's like, we know that she's in there. We know that there's plans to complete her and bring her to the game. We just don't know when that'll pan out and when exactly they plan to do all of that. But she again has a very strong case of being brought into the game. And again, just like War Machine, she's going to be met with oh, well, she'll just be a clone / echo conversation that seems to be the trend for everything. Even though these characters have been existing in gaming for years, like. You just saw her in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, saying, and she doesn't play just like Hulk. She's, they're both in the game. You can play with both of those heroes, and they have very different, unique gameplay for both of them. And you've seen her in the Fantastic Four games in the past. You've seen her in mobile games and things like that. So it's like, yeah, she's a Hulk. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her doing things like grabbing large boulders and throwing them around for her ranged abilities and things like that. But you're going to see her do things that the Hulk just doesn't do. So if you think the fact that she'll be mostly combat-based or melee-based is boring, all right, I get that. I can't fault you for feeling that way. You want more energy-based, heroes who fly around and can do more fantastical things. That is 100% fair. But to say that she'll just be exactly like the Hulk, that's disingenuous. She's going to be able to, do a running drop kick or something like that. A lot of her attacks come from like finesse wrestling moves and things like that. So slamming people down by their head with her legs and things like that. Power bombs, suplexes, and things like that. So that's the kind of stuff I'm expecting to see from her, especially with her takedowns and things like that. And then just like grabbing enemies by their legs and just swinging them around above her head and things like that. she'll have a very different approach to her gameplay than what we saw with the Hulk. I have no doubt about that. Miller has touched on that where he can. She'll have torque attacks according to Sadat, so you guys definitely feel free to run wild with that one. But her character is going to be a lot. Her approach to their approach to designing her character is going to be a lot more fun than what you would expect from someone like Hulk, who is a straightforward brute. So the Hulk, he uses his body and he uses his environment to do as much damage as possible. Where She-Hulk is a little more cerebral with her approach, and she pulls from things, that she's a fan of in life. So she obviously is a wrestling fan, and she obviously has different fighting techniques that she can utilize that the Hulk just isn't privy to. So you're not going to see the Hulk doing karate moves or anything like that. Where She-Hulk, she could do a roundhouse kick and, kick a robot's head off or something like that. And again, we know who her voice actress is. Cristina Bajos was revealed and confirmed. She confirmed it herself accidentally, by responding to Miller's tweet that she was indeed the voice actress of She-Hulk. And she's spoken about it in interviews where she can't say exactly who she's voicing, but she has hinted that she is doing the voice for a very popular character coming up in a Marvel game. So we know that she's there. We know that she's there. It's just a simple question of when. And I can very much see her being the next hero coming after Bucky again, because we already have voice lines in the game for her. So you have the groundwork and the foundation already laid for her to be brought into the game. And Miller has hinted, in recent months that it was always a toss-up about who would be the next hero between her and Bucky, because they were basically neck and neck in terms of design and development behind the scenes. And in recent months, he's taken the stance that we could possibly see her arrive with Ultron. So they're still developing Ultron. There has been work on Ultron behind the scenes that he's shared, and I believe because AIM is actively being removed from the game's narrative in the next forms of content. So 2.6 and 2.7 are both geared towards getting AIM out of the main storyline. So we are moving past AIM. We sat on that storyline for 2 years at this point. The development team recognizes, narratively, we have to move beyond this. We have to get this stuff out of the way. We want to wrap it up. We don't want to just, move on to something else without concluding that. So they still want to respect the story and tell the story, but we got to get past that. And what better way to get past that than with introducing a bigger, more famous enemy or / villain in the form of Ultron, while at the same time introducing a fan favorite hero. There are a lot of people who are looking forward to She-Hulk. A lot of them are in the comments right now. Fetty, he's definitely one of them. He's been, one of the most vocal subscribers about his love for She-Hulk. And a lot of people were disappointed to see that she wasn't the next announced hero, and instead it was Bucky. So you got mixed reviews on that, but there is a lot of fan appeal for her. She is a major talking point right now, for better or for worse. And I believe the clone argument coming right on the heels of Jane Foster as the next hero may have impacted their decision making around who to introduce as the next hero. We don't know that for sure, but I can see that being the case. So just the fact that we know that she's in the game, she has work done behind the scenes and in the game, we know that she'll show up at some point. That's all I'm saying. But we can move on and push forward to Falcon. Another hero that a lot of people want to see brought to this game for representation reasons. So he'll be the second black hero added to the game behind Black Panther. I could have said the same thing for War Machine, but again, he is really stepping into the spotlight in recent, because of his show and the work they're doing with him in the MCU. He's the new Captain America. So a lot of people really want to see Falcon. And plus, there is no echo argument around this guy. There is literally no echo argument for this guy. He's going to definitely have unique gameplay because he's flying using mechanical wings. He'll probably have his mechanical bird Red Wing in the game, which will, probably function similar to Spider-Man's drone. He'll definitely use military weaponry machine guns and things like that for his range possibly, and his melee will incorporate his wing combat. So it's like he definitely opens the door for a unique new hero post Bucky that no one can immediately meet with the, oh well, he'll just be a clone of XYZ, and it's like, no, that argument is mute right out of the gate. So I can definitely see that being a direction they want to explore to kind of shift the conversation away from echoes and clones for a while. So that's why I say, like, they could surprise us. And again, the new heroes are in development. We don't know who that is currently. I can make a case for several people. Like I said, we learned that Bucky actually didn't fully start development or design until May. So between May and October is when he'll be finishing up. Well, he's pretty much finishing up now. He's in playtesting, so he's a playable character in the game now. He just isn't available to the public. But they have started on two new heroes behind the scenes design wise, and Falcon, again, he checks off a lot of boxes, and he would definitely be appealing to a lot of players. And again, he offers something new and unique in terms of gameplay. Falcon for Black History Month. I mean, I can see it if they want to do that. I wouldn't argue against it. But yeah, he's definitely a character that a lot of people want to see, myself included. Like I want everybody. I've shared that with you guys a ton of times. I literally want every hero they can possibly give us in this game. And even with someone like Jane, her gameplay is fun enough, and she's different enough from Thor to feel unique, and she's undoubtedly stronger than him. So it's like there's no getting around the fact that she's stronger than Thor in certain regards. And with the new buffs and balances that are coming, I think they may be addressing that or trying to fix that, or do what they can to bring them closer together in terms of power. But no matter who they bring to this game, there's going to be a lot of thought and attention put into them. So I can't be disappointed by anybody they announce, because I know that the gameplay is going to be dope no matter who we get. So I won't be surprised if somebody like Falcon pops up as the next hero. That will actually garner a lot of excitement, and I'm pretty sure Miller will give us insight into who's coming, ahead of their release and everything like that. But again, this is somebody who could really introduce a positive narrative to the game's current conversation that hasn't been there for a while. But switching over to the next one, this would be an absolute win. The developers themselves have talked about how much they actually appreciate how much fans have been vocal about wanting heroes like Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, and to bring her to the game right now while she's at the height of her popularity in both the MCU and in gaming demand would be a major move, and would be a very smart decision for this game going into 2023. I think they want to introduce the magic, element storyline a little later next year. So I would expect her to, come post Captain Marvel. But there is room. There's going to be a void there after the removal of AIM from the storyline. So introducing a new magical threat and having magical heroes start to appear to combat this threat and guide the Avengers through this, that would be amazing. That's a completely different story that was already teased that they would now be delivering on by introducing the Scarlet Witch. And you would the influx of new characters, new players would be immense for somebody like Scarlet Witch. That's all I'm saying. She's teased. She is teased. She has a talk with Zawafari and Wakanda about a magical disturbance. So it's like you have that going for you, and again, we would definitely be winning if we got Scarlet Witch as the hero after Bucky. Again, this is somebody who completely is just immune to the clone conversation, because there is no one in the game who plays like her or the way that she would at any point in the game. So she's not going to play like Thor. She's not going to play like Iron Man. She's not going to play like Captain America. There's nobody in the game you can pull from and say, oh, this hero is going to be a clone of them, and that would be a win in and of itself. So to see them, take a step in this direction post Bucky would be major. Like, you would literally be starting 2023 off with a major, major win, and that's something this game desperately needs, especially now that they have a new publisher behind them. So people are more optimistic. They want the game to do better. They want to see a big turnaround and everything like that. So I feel like a decision like Scarlet Witch as the next hero would be a major step towards giving people renewed faith in the vision for this game. And we have other people who could do that as well. Doctor Strange is arguably the most demanded hero for Marvel's Avengers. People want this dude in the game so bad, it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And again, this is somebody who is immune to the clone argument. He's not an echo of anybody present in the game. And the potential for his gameplay alone is just astronomical. When you want to talk about buffs, support, traversal, travel, all of that stuff, all of that is on the table for Doctor Strange. He literally would be the most insane character introduced into this game from a gameplay standpoint alone, just by everything he has to offer, both in terms of melee and ranged abilities, because this is the master of the mystic arts. Like, this is Doctor Supreme, the Sorcerer Supreme, and he has so much at his disposal that is crazy. So opening portals to help heroes get across different landscapes and things like that, he should be able to do that. Buffing heroes, buffing his teammates, similar to what we saw in the What If episodes, featuring him on Disney Plus. That should be something he should be able to do. So giving you a defense buff, giving you an armor buff, or a damage buff and things like that, he should be able to do all of those things. Being able to fly, being able to have crazy melee because he uses different spells and incantations, like all of that should be on the table for him. He has the Crimson Bands of Sidorak. His takedown should be crazy. Like, whenever they bring him to the game, whenever they decide to introduce Doctor Strange into the game's story and narrative, is going to be a major win for the community overall. Like, I don't think there's going to be any complaints, even though this is Avengers, so you may see complaints of, oh, well, why didn't they do Scarlet Witch? That's about it. That's literally about it. But I feel like if you see Doctor Strange as an upcoming hero ahead of Scarlet Witch, you have to know that she's not far behind. You have to know that she's definitely not going to be far behind. And again, his gameplay is just going to be crazy. Like, you can look at a game like Forspoken and look at what they're going to be offering in terms of gameplay over there, and kind of get a vision for how he could work in this game, in this universe, and things like that. Like I said, I would be all about it. I would definitely be all about it, and I think that would be a major, major big step for this game, going in a different direction. And of course, you got to do more than just add heroes. Adding new heroes to what's currently in the game isn't going to fix the game long term. You definitely need better content modes, so you can play in and more engaging villain fights and things like that. So it's like there are steps they can take, which they're working on. They're working on patrol mode. They're working on join in progress, and they're currently exploring ways to add crossplay to the game. So it's like they know it's going to take more than big heroes and big villains to fix this game, but big heroes like Doctor Strange definitely would help. It definitely wouldn't hurt the game. So again, I'm excited at the possibility, and again, the developers have shared that Doctor Strange is one of the most demanded characters coming to the game, and they are aware of that. They are factoring that in. They won't go as far as promising he's going to be coming soon or anything like that, but they know that would be a big win to add somebody like Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch to the game. What's up, New York? And what's up to everybody who's just popping in the chat? Sorry, I'm on a roll. I'm just, really trying to go through and break down why I feel like everyone on this list has a very strong case of being a new hero added to the game. And again, I appreciate you guys coming through as always. All is definitely well with me, New York. I appreciate you coming through. But we can keep it going. We got more. This guy. So again, like I've said before, we know that Ultron is in the game. We know that he's teased. We know that he's being planned. We know that there's development done for him. Mendoza with the subscribe. I appreciate that. Appreciate you becoming an Avenger. Definitely appreciate that. But we know that Ultron is planned to be a villain that's coming to the game. Data miners have shared that, they've shared the design outline for his attacks. So there's going to be an Ultron Prime. He's going to have beacons or something that you have to deactivate in order to damage him and things like that. So Ultron is coming. Again, we don't know when. Similar to She-Hulk, similar to Captain Marvel, we don't know when, but we do know that they are planned, and we do know that he's coming at some point. Avengers! King J with the sub, appreciate that, bro. Thank you for becoming an Avenger. Again, we know that he's coming at some point. And to add Vision, who's also was planned as a playable hero, who was on the data mine list of characters that they want to bring to the game, it just makes sense. And he doesn't, like, you can either bring him alongside Ultron, or, since this will be the first iteration of Ultron, I feel like it makes more sense to introduce him later. So maybe the Avengers defeat Ultron in his current state, but he slinks away and, builds a stronger body, and he wants, of course, to build the ultimate body, which is always the Vision. The Vision is Ultron's ultimate, goal. That's his perfect indestructible body with all the powers he would need to rule the world and destroy the Avengers. What's up, Bucky Barnes? We were just talking about you at the start of the stream. Can't wait for you to come to the game. But Vision is another hero who offers unique gameplay. He can fly. His gameplay is going to be totally unique. There's no one else in the game who can become intangible, who can change their density, who shoots beams from their forehead or anything like that. This would be another win. He wouldn't be as big as somebody like Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch, but coming after Bucky, that would be a major, win, because a lot of people, again, have been looking forward to the Vision coming to the game. A lot of people have been asking for more of the original Avengers. So you want to see people like War Machine, you want to see Falcon, you want to see Scarlet Witch, you want to see the Vision. Again, all of that is there. All of this can be possible in this game. And again, with Ultron, him and Vision kind of go hand in hand. So if I see Ultron, that sets the expectation that I'm going to see Vision at some point down the line. Not far behind, if that. So again, I'm looking forward to it. I would love to see Vision in the game. I don't know that he would be the very next hero after Bucky, but if they really want to surprise us and switch things up narratively, that would be a win. That would be something completely unexpected. Quick question: which Avenger or Avengers would you like in the game? And second question: what's your take on where the Avengers stand now? So honestly, I want everybody in the game, as I've said several times, but I want War Machine for several reasons. One, he is one of my favorite heroes, and two, I just really want people to see that he's not going to be an Iron Man clone. I want that to be put to bed immediately. I want that to be put to bed more than anything else in this game. And I would love to see War Machine brought to the game. Doctor Strange would be amazing. Like, I want that. But there's no doubt that Doctor Strange is going to be amazing. War Machine would be the perfect vehicle to showcase how good this team is at designing unique combat for each individual hero. This is why they take 4 to 6 months to complete, because they're not slapping heroes together and just adding different components from everyone else and stuff like that. You still have to design unique components for each hero. And that's what they strive to do. That's what the game has been built around, and they don't plan to step away from that anytime soon, even when you're dealing with heroes who are ultimately echoes and stuff. So Jane Foster is not a one-to-one echo of Thor. She has a lot of similarities to Thor, but she's about 10 to 15% unique. So again, the purpose of an echo is to kind of shorten the workload, but they still want to offer something unique even with echo heroes. And I feel like War Machine would just completely devastate the clone echo argument completely, because it makes no sense. And if you watch anything, any media, whether that's a cartoon, gaming, or the MCU movies or anything like that, where you see War Machine on screen with Iron Man, they have very completely different approaches to gameplay or fighting in general. So that's why I would want him in the game as the next hero, just to put that to bed, just to put that argument to bed, so we don't have to hear that for every single hero, because it just doesn't make sense. But what's up, Nova Flow? And guys, if you just popped into the stream, make sure you slap that like button, smash it, do whatever you need to do to it. It definitely helps support the channel, and I greatly appreciate that 100%. I cannot state that enough. But pushing forward, who do we got? The biggest tease in the game. The biggest tease in the game. And for anybody who just joined, I'll do a quick recap for you guys. So we'll go back. And so these are the heroes I think could come after this man comes. So we know we got Bucky on the way. As you can see, he got this assault rifle with the sniper scope on there, with the grenade launcher under there. He's coming. There's no doubt about that. He's coming. We don't know when. We anticipate it'll be late November, but he could possibly come earlier than that. But beyond that, War Machine has a very strong chance of being the next hero after Bucky. He already has some design work done in the game, and the lead developer who currently is designing the next two heroes, War Machine is his favorite hero. So again, he has a very strong case. She-Hulk, very popular. Again, she has work done in the game. We know who her voice actress is, Krizia Bajos, and she also has some dialogue with characters and things like that in the game already. So we know that she's playing. We just don't know when exactly she'll be arriving to the game. Falcon, a fan favorite who would definitely do a lot for the game if he was brought to the game as the next hero. And I would definitely love it, because now you get Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Falcon finally all on one team. And you throw Hawkeye, somebody on the mix, and you got a solid strike team. But Scarlet Witch would be a legit game changer, and she would definitely put the game in a better light going into 2023. And Doctor Strange would literally break the game. Like, he's breaking the game, he's breaking the internet, he's breaking it all. He is ripping a hole in our dimension and destroying Avengers, because that guy's going to be insane. The Vision is somebody I feel like definitely has a strong chance of being a new hero we see in the near future, especially with Ultron being the planned villain who we're waiting to see revealed in the game after AIM is removed from the storyline. But now we can talk about arguably one of the biggest heroes a lot of people have been waiting for. And that's Captain Marvel. This image that you're seeing comes directly from the game. This is her in-game design, and it looks dope. They know what they want her to look like. They know what they want her to be. And just like the MCU, she is the big gun from space. So she is the big gun that comes in when threats really get out of control. So as you saw in the Future Imperfect trailer and storyline for Hawkeye, there's going to be a big invasion coming where a ton of Kree sentries and Kree warships are going to be coming down, and stuff on Earth is going to get insane. And of course, you got people like Thor on the team, you got the Hulk on the team, but it's like Captain Marvel, so much of her backstory is tied into the Kree. And fighting, cosmic and extraterrestrial threats is literally what her character is all about. So bringing her in to help combat the absolute insanity that's going to take place when the Kree ultimately arrive in force is definitely something so many of us are looking forward to, because again, she's definitely going to offer unique gameplay. She's going to check off a lot of boxes for a lot of players, and we've been waiting for her since 2020. Since we finished the campaign, we've been waiting for her. Since we saw this game mentioned, we've been waiting for her, because she's such a big hero. She is such a major force in the Marvel Universe, and she is going to be every bit of that when she's brought to this game. Her cosmic powers are going to be insane. Her flying, her beams, all of that is going to be insane. Her overcharged state is going to be insane. She is literally going to come to this game destroying everything, and I can't wait to see her do it. And she also, as IGO Rambo, said, she brings the potential to bring new content in the form of new raids. So we can get a Kree raid with her, and possibly Ronan the Accuser as the main threat, or the final villain of the raid. So similar to how we got Claw in the Discordant Sound raid, a new raid featuring the Kree and Ronan the Accuser as the final boss would be amazing. Especially if we get a new biome with it. If we get, to go out in space, or just a new location on the map or something like that, somewhere completely new, completely designed from the ground up and things like that. She brings all of that potential with her, as well as we could see an expansion come for her. Currently, the team has decided to move away from expansions and operations, but she is big enough to bring that back. She's literally big enough to bring that back, and she would be deserving of something like that, because again, you're introducing one of the biggest heroes to this universe for the first time, for players to actually get to explore her backstory, get to play with her hands-on, and combat a major global threat or galactic threat that's coming in the form of the Kree. So again, to do a major War for Wakanda size expansion for the Kree and Captain Marvel just seems like the obvious decision, but we have to wait and see. But that's something that we definitely can talk about, because so much conversation of late has been, what does Avengers look like post-Kree invasion? When right now the conversation really should be, what does Avengers look like? What does the Kree invasion look like in this new landscape of Avengers that they're currently trying to shape? So if you move away from operations and expansions, how do you go about telling the Kree storyline? So are you just going to introduce a new villain content and throw Captain Marvel in around, that storyline, so you get to run around and play with her, but it won't be in operation. So you'll be running around doing objectives, getting audio files and things like that. You may get a couple cutscenes, and then you get a couple cutscenes with the villain content. Or do you go the traditional route and put the time and work and resources towards building a new biome, crafting new cutscenes, new character dialogues and interactions and things like that, and introducing a new major villain through that story campaign? So do you do that and do villain sectors later? Or do you stick with the new format where you introduce new content and simply add in a new hero to go along with that content whose story ties into that? This is why we need new cutscenes. Yeah, cutscenes, I feel like, are the middle ground for them. And Brian has shared that the cutscenes can be a bit, complex with a lot of movement and everything like that. And so those, scenes like that take time to craft, and they're trying to be more selective with their resources and where they spend time and energy and things like that. So a simple cutscene of people standing around talking can work, but I don't think it's a bad idea to spring for a more, advanced cutscene, I would say, to just wow players a little bit, just because that's something that genuinely is dope and something so many people actually enjoy from seeing that in the game storyline. So in the campaign, when the helicarrier is being attacked, that is one of the most amazing set pieces the story has to offer. When you're flying across the San Francisco bridge while it's being bombarded during A-Day, again, that's another amazing set piece that the operation offers that you just can't find in multiplayer content. I wish that they find a way to kind of marry those two concepts where you offer a cinematic experience in multiplayer where everyone has an objective, everyone has something to do. So Hulk, we need you over here doing this. Iron Man, you got to get to this and do that. Cap, you hold it down right here. Widow, you do this, or Thor, you go do that. Something like that in multiplayer with just, cinematics that trigger once you get to the location for each hero and everything, or each player, would be amazing. And I know that's complex. I know that takes a lot of time to plan out, map out, and design. So I don't hold that against them, that we may not just be at that place just yet. But if they could deliver on something like that, that would, again, be something that completely changes the narrative around this game. And again, you have a demand for bigger heroes like Captain Marvel, like Doctor Strange. And to be fair to the players, the current lineup that we've gotten for Avengers, so from launch to now, has been underwhelming when you think of all the Avengers that exist that they could have pulled from and that could have arrived ahead of some of these people. So giving us Hawkeye should have been top priority. Hawkeye should have been the first DLC hero, and Kate Bishop could have been someone we got later down the line. And instead of that, you go, so behind Hawkeye, you could have got somebody like Hawkeye or Falcon or Scarlet Witch or something like that, just because there's so much fan demand around that. And I wish they would have chosen to go that route, but, for whatever reason, they didn't. And, here we are. But, for players to be a bit underwhelmed is fair. Do you think Shang-Chi will be in the game? Not anytime soon, but again, as someone who I wouldn't complain about Shang-Chi coming to the game, but not right out the Bucky. And again, I feel like there are people we need to get to before we start exploring heroes like that. More mainstream Avengers, and maybe throw in a fun Avenger in between that. So, like, for next year's lineup, we don't know how many heroes we're getting. We don't know who they have planned or anything like that. But, if you can do big releases. So, like, say next year, we did, in fact, get Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, and War Machine. Captain Marvel ending the year off would be amazing. But I understand people being underwhelmed with She-Hulk and War Machine after coming off 2022, where we only got Jane Foster and Winter Soldier. So I would spring to do a fourth if possible. Who that fourth should be, I don't know. I can't say. You get what I'm saying? Because I feel like somebody like Doctor Strange is going to take a little more time to design than somebody like, a Captain Carter or a John Walker or something like that. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not a part of that decision-making process, and I try to be understanding to their situation and the developer's plight of trying to balance what they can do with what players want them to do, and finding that middle ground between that and what they're allowed to do, because this is an IP that they license. So Marvel does have the final say about what they can and can't do. So if they don't want them to have access to a certain character, Marvel can veto that. I would hope that they wouldn't, but, they always have that, possibility. Give me one sec. Just mixing up the playlist a bit. But, yeah, guys, again, there is so much we don't know, and that can be exciting, but it's also, fun to have some insight into what is actually playing, what's actually going on behind the scenes, what they are bringing and things like that. So again, I'm all about it. I'm definitely looking forward to Tuesday when we get the new villain content and everything, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting Bucky, because again, I've been anticipating this dude for the longest, and to find out that he actually skipped the line ahead of people like She-Hulk and Captain Marvel, amazing. I'm happy with it. There's no one that can announce that I'm going to be disappointed in, with the exception of when Miller was teasing Jane Foster without actually telling us it was Jane Foster. It was a mystery who he was talking about, but he compiled a short list of heroes it could be, and on that list was people like Yelena, Shuri, and I forgot who the other hero was, but ultimately I think it was White Tiger. So when it really was looking like it was narrowing down to Shuri, I was a bit disappointed because at that time Black Panther was actually one of the worst characters in the games in terms of like damage output. So it's like I don't really use him that much because it's like you have to build him so uniquely and you have to really farm for gear and things like that just to make him viable. And it's like I don't want to do all of that. His gameplay is fun, his mechanics are fun. It's just I don't want to spend 15 minutes fighting one Exo when I can throw the hammer two times with Thor and get that thing over with. So it's like to have another Black Panther, I felt like that would have been tragic and would have been a very underwhelming decision to make. Even though some people would have been excited to get Shuri, and there's a way to see it as making sense because we knew that the Wakanda Forever movie was coming out later this year. So it's like I can see it, but it's like I wouldn't have been excited about that. That would have been one hero release that I would have been underwhelmed with a lot. But outside of that, it's like I'm always optimistic about what each hero has to offer gameplay wise. Like I'm gonna do a video about Bucky because I think we currently have elements of his gameplay in the game. Like so when they say that he'll have similarities to Captain America and Black Widow, I don't think they mean he's gonna have their exact combos and everything like that. I don't think he's gonna have any of their specific moves or anything, but there are elements to both of their gameplay where I can see it. Like Captain America, his combo finishing punch with his left hand that uses the shield. Bucky's left arm is the metal arm. So the combo ending super punch, that fully extends with the metal arm, I can definitely see that being added to his gameplay. And I'm also hoping that Captain America's running kick, his running chest stomp is something that's added for Bucky. So having elements of people you've worked with and trained with in the past does not translate to you being an Echo. What's up, Captain? Shout out to Captain, and also Captain, you've been ignoring me on PSN, bro. I sent you a couple invites when I needed somebody for the raid, and you left me hanging. But we're not gonna hold that against you. But yeah, like again, using what you have, using resources in the game to add to a new incoming hero is not necessarily a bad thing. You all good, Cap. I'm messing with you. You know the vibes. But, like Jane Foster, the idea of using her for her ultimate attack, she still has, she calls upon the all weapon, which functions just like Mjolnir, while Mjolnir flies around and attacks enemies independently, similar to Hawkeye's, ultimate arrow that flies around and targets enemies on its own and everything like that. So it's like that's just taking an element of something that's already present in the game and repurposing it for a new hero. So Thor doesn't do that. He doesn't have that ability. Just like when she does melee, Mjolnir flies in front of her fist, for melee damage in the way similar to Captain America's shield when he activates Brooklyn Brawler. So again, just repurposing, things to, add uniqueness to a hero that isn't already in the game. I feel like that's unfair to get down on them for, because you're playing Thor in a new way essentially. So you have Thor. She is essentially Thor. That's the gimmick of the character. She is Thor. She becomes Mighty Thor when she picks up the hammer and transforms and everything. So of course she's going to fight similar to Thor. Of course she's going to play similar to Thor. But to go the step further and pull from the comics and pull from the game to make her unique enough to where it doesn't feel like an exact one-to-one. Her and Thor feel like very different people when you play them outside of certain animations and takedowns and things like that. But the feeling of throwing their hammers is very different. So when she throws it and throws it again once it comes back, she does a completely different animation and she throws it out stronger than she threw it the first time. Where Thor, he throws it hard, the first time. And if he winds it up, that's his way of throwing it harder. He doesn't do all the extra stuff. He doesn't really need to. So again, it's like having elements of Captain America and Black Widow for someone who trained closely with both of those characters simply makes sense. That's like being mad that Robin has elements of Batman's, combat. Who taught him how to fight? Like who do you think showed him this? Like, of course he's gonna have some moves, but they also add the flair and acrobatics to him because he's unique. He's not gonna fight exactly like Batman, but you may see a combo, here or there, or you may see a kick or punch that's similar to something Batman does because hey, he was trained by Bruce. So things like that is what I'm talking about. So if you don't like Bucky, you don't like that he's the next hero, those two things are fair. That's fine. To say that he's just going to be Captain America and Widow all over again, disingenuous take. You're not being real with yourself, and you're not being real with whoever you're sharing that opinion with, because it's like, look at this gun. Nobody else has that gun. You think this gun is going to shoot just like Black Widow's gun? Not at all. He doesn't have a scope for no reason. It's been teased that he will have a sniper mode for his gun, which is something we currently do not have for any hero in this game. He has a grenade launcher that you can see right here. That barrel underneath the gun, that's a grenade. Grenades are going to come out of there. So yes, we have heroes who can shoot explosive arrows and things like that, but nobody's shooting grenades out of a gun with a scope that can also fire as a traditional assault rifle and things like that. He's going to have a knife. We don't know which one of these pockets holds the knife. He's going to have a knife. Captain America doesn't have a knife. Black Widow doesn't have a knife. No one in the game is running around, mixing up knife gameplay with their, melee combat. So again, he's going to have unique characteristics. Count Trends with the sub. Appreciate you becoming an Avenger. But yeah, it's like, that's why I'm not worried about anyone they choose to bring. So if they bring War Machine, I know War Machine is going to be 100% dope. And I know War Machine is going to have very unique gameplay that separates him completely from Iron Man. Same with She-Hulk. She's going to be faster, and she's going to have way more finesse techniques than the Hulk in this game. I'm not worried about that at all. They've already displayed that completely with heroes like Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. They've already shut all of that down. Falcon. No one else is going to play like this man. No one else. Nobody else flies around with large metal wings. He's going to have a drone, his Falcon Red Wing and everything like that. I don't have any doubt about any of that. It's right there. Like it would be absolutely asinine not to include something like that. And the development team has already shown they pull from the movies and the comics to gain inspiration for their hero design. That's what they do. Fake news, always. That's what we promote here. Now, one hero you won't see. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stall you out on that. I'm gonna stall you out on that slope. But Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, completely new gameplay. I have no doubt about it. Anybody who doubts that is being they're just being angry and negative for the sake of being negative. And there are people who do that. I just don't entertain it because it's like that literally makes no sense. If you think Doctor Strange is going to fight like anybody in this game, all right, I'm going to let you have that one because there's no change in your mind. I'm not arguing with that. Vision. He's literally going to be able to go through people. He'll literally be able to go through enemies. He should be able to go through doors. I'm just throwing that out there. He should be able to go through doors. But again, that's just where he is. Nobody's going to fight like Captain Marvel unless they throw in the original Captain Marvel right behind her or ahead of her. That's it. That's the only way you're getting clone gameplay from Captain Marvel. That's literally about it. Yeah, Blue Marvel. You Blue Marvel now, Slip. I'll give you that. Again, somebody like Blue Marvel would be dope. I would take Blue Marvel. I would take Hyperion. I hate his storyline, but I would take Sentry as well. Like Sentry would be dope, but as one of the developers has said, they feel like he's too OP for this game. So I don't have a lot of optimism that I would see people like that. But if we did at some point, I would be amazed, and I would definitely take him in a heartbeat. But yeah, you got you got people like Ant-Man and the Wasp. Again, two other people I could have put on this list and probably should have put on this list, but they again offer unique gameplay that isn't found in the game, but they will have elements of other people's gameplay. Hank Pym already has this technology in the game that's available for the Avengers to use. You can shrink people with Pym technology right now. You can grow big with Kamala right now. When you use Embiggen, she becomes larger than she normally is, which is something Giant Man / Ant-Man is known for, changing his size on the fly to fit the situation. So if he needs to be giant, he goes big and starts doing major damage from giant form, or if he needs a smaller approach, he shrinks down. I don't know how the shrinking will work in this game, so I don't expect like your perspective to change or anything like that, like you're down in the grass all of a sudden. I think his shrinking would probably come more in the form of just melee combat. So maybe he shrinks to finish off a combo and uppercut somebody or something like that, or he uses shrinking for takedowns and things like that. But I think like his range, he's clearly going to have a ray gun or something like that, shrinking people down and things like that. And you'll probably be able to apply different status effects with his ray gun. He'll probably fly. He'll definitely probably fly using an ant. So he'll probably shrink down a bit and fly around on an ant, or he'll make an ant giant. He can change the size of things as well. So he can make his ants larger as well. So a large ant running around as a summon or something like that could definitely be something he has as a part of his kit. And the Wasp, again, she's Ant-Man with lasers and things like that. So she flies around zapping people, things like that. It's like I'm expecting all of this to be a thing. And again, we do not lose. Anyone on this list we get, we will be winners for it. So if we get Vision, we won. We get Doctor Strange, we won. Scarlet Witch, we are definitely winning. Falcon, you won't hear me complain. You won't hear any complaints from me. Definitely won't hear complaints about this. Me, Reginald Haynes, Jazzy Butters, you're gonna hear a lot of people making a lot of noise for War Machine the day that we see him get announced. Yeah, you definitely, thanks for pointing that out, Slip. You can see giant ants running around the anthill currently. If you go to the anthill and go over by the back where Cho, I forgot her name. I know her, Maddie Cho, that's her name. I actually had a coworker with the last name Cho, so it's like I'm like, that's not her name. That's not who that is. But yeah, you can go over by her area and see giant ants running around inside the anthill. And well, I mean, to be fair, we don't know that they're actually giant. We could just be shrunken down. The anthill is small, could be small, I believe, and we just shrink down to get in there. So the ants are their normal size. We're just small. So it could be either way. But you do see enlarged ants in the game. But Rhodey and Falcon, cue the hype. Yeah, Moon Knight is going to be a must for me. Moon Knight is one of those obscure characters who would definitely be a fun addition, but I don't know where you fit in people like that. I want people like Daredevil and Luke Cage and Wolverine and things like that, but I don't know where you fit them into the game's narrative and ahead of people like this. Like, this is a long list of people. So War Machine, She-Hulk, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, Vision, Captain Marvel. That's a lot of people right there. That's quite the cast of heroes, and it's like you have to figure out where to get them in, when you want to get them in, how you want to get them in terms of story and villains and all of that stuff. And then to throw in a side character, I feel like that's what hero events should be for. So instead of doing like Echo heroes as much, I feel like a fun side hero like what they did with Spider-Man, because that's what he feels like. He feels tacked on. So he's not really integral to the main story. He can interact with it, but he's not really a part of the main story. So you have a small story, side story, that introduces Spider-Man, and from there, that's pretty much it. But yeah, literally can do stuff like that for like people like Wolverine and be just fine. Give me 1 sec, guys. Let me see something. There we go. Okay. All right, got that done. So, again, appreciate you guys coming to hang out. 155 likes, definitely appreciate that. But as you guys have seen, I can make a case for almost any hero coming to the game. And like I said, fun heroes like Wolverine and Daredevil or Iron Fist or Moon Knight, those would be fun hero events. I feel like that's who you should target with hero events. So getting a Wolverine hero event that just simply throws him into the story. Hey, I was tracking this guy, or I was investigating AIM, or AIM did this to mutants, or something like that. And now you have Wolverine running around with the Avengers. So no, he's not going to be a part of cloning labs. No, he's not going to be a part of the Ultron storyline or anything like that. But he's in the game. You can play with him. That's a new hero that came to the game. That's a major fan favorite that everyone can play with now. He's not locked to one platform. He's for everybody. That's a win. Versus doing echo heroes like, Captain Carter or somebody like that, where you have a chance to really divide the audience. It's like, don't do stuff like that. But yeah, that's Avengers. That's where we are with it. And that's, we can only look at what they do from the outside looking in, and we can try to critique it as best we can from the outside. So again, you're free to feel however you feel about any of these choices. So, if you want someone ahead of Captain Marvel, or, you don't like the Vision, or you don't want Vision, you rather have somebody like Squirrel Girl or something like that. That's fair. Again, your opinion is your own, and you are entitled to your opinion. But, I try to be fair with the developers, and, try to take my own personal bias out of the decision making. So, whoever they add, whoever they decide is coming after him, it's okay with me. It's their game. It's, whatever reasoning that led to them making that choice, I have to be okay with it. I can't change it. I can't go in there and demand that they unannounce it, or de-introduce these heroes or anything like that. I don't have that kind of control. So it's like I have to be okay with the stuff I can't control. And I haven't been disappointed by the heroes they've introduced. Kate Bishop is fun. Jane Foster is fun. Black Panther and Spider-Man are fun characters to play with. Hawkeye is literally currently the most dangerous man in the game. So I trust the team. I trust what they've been able to do, and I trust that they'll be able to deliver more of that in the future. I just want to get to a place where we're getting, different content more often. So we're getting villains, sectors, and Omega level threats and raids and stuff like that more often throughout the year. I want to get to a place where we can get like 5 heroes a year. So you do your work early enough to where you can roll out heroes, every other month or something like that. That would be amazing. I want new events. We definitely need some new events brought to the game. I want new gear. I want it all. I want to see patrol mode. I can't wait to see cloning labs. So I'm very invested in where the game is going, what they plan to do, who they plan to bring, what villains will show up. They've teased that they have, fun new villains in mind that they want to introduce and that they have currently in development in the pipeline. They've teased that patrol mode will introduce new heroes. Like, you won't see the same villains appear in patrol mode that you saw 2 years prior. So you're not fighting Abomination, you're not fighting Maestro, you're not fighting Taskmaster in patrol mode. That's a win. Who exactly will be fighting? We don't know. We have no idea as of yet. I would love to see somebody like Graviton pop up. I would love to see like Gamma enemies pop up. I would love to see the Wrecking Crew, because I know a lot of people are disappointed with how the Wrecking Crew turned out in She-Hulk. Hopefully they get a better showing later in the season or something. But, there's a lot of potential to just drop fun enemies into that that mission and or that mode, and allow players to interact with that, as well as mission content and things like that. And again, like, guys, I appreciate you guys beyond words. I cannot say that enough, man. Like, the support from you guys is absolutely amazing, and I cannot. We have some cool skins in the pipeline, so I'll do a poll asking you guys what you want to. Spiritual Machine with the sub. Appreciate you becoming an Avenger. I'm going to host a poll asking you guys which skin you want a giveaway for, as the next big giveaway on the channel. I was going to do it for Hawkeye, but I saw kind of mixed reviews about Hawkeye, so I think I'll wait for somebody a little bigger. We know Ultimate Thor is in the pipeline, but we also have some other costumes in the pipeline as well. And I'm definitely doing I'll try to do a big giveaway for the Halloween skins this year. So definitely be in tune with that. Definitely stick around, and definitely make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so that you don't miss stuff like that, because again, just like you guys support me, I I would love to support and give back to you guys as well. And blessing somebody with a skin that they really wanted, that's the least I can do. I definitely appreciate that. But if you guys want to support the channel in other ways, I am partnered with AM Controllers. If you want to check out the link in the description, you can check out all of the cool custom controllers that they offer over there. You can get a custom Xbox controller, as well as PlayStation controllers. If you use my code, you'll get an additional 10% off your purchase, and I believe they currently have a sale going on that offers about 25% off, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely check that out. You guys can shop with Fandom In and grab some Avengers merch. That definitely helps. Use my code in the description for that as well. If you're picking up some of that new Fortnite drip, definitely use code Casual Avenger in the creator code section to support the channel. You can become a channel member. I have a new video coming for channel members later today, if I can. If not, it'll definitely be early tomorrow. Talking more about the Inhumans and Marvel's Avengers, where they are, where they've been, and where they could show up. But if you guys stick around, I have a video premiering right after this stream ends that's going to talk about the news we just got from one of the developers over on Reddit. So again, appreciate you guys as always. Make sure you stick around to catch this new video that's premiering right now, and I will catch you guys in the comments.